All right, so you're here, right? You're listening because you want to get a handle on the stuff that's really driving the world forward. And right now, I mean, everyone's talking about artificial intelligence, but trying to actually understand it all, keeping up with the research, it's kind of overwhelming.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it seems like every day there's a new breakthrough or a new concern. It can be a lot to process.
Exactly. So that's why we're here, right? Think of this as your deep dive, cutting through all the noise to figure out the global AI race. We'll look at who's actually leading, what their strategies are, why it all matters, without getting bogged down in the technical jargon. And today, we're tackling a really big question.
We are. We're diving into the question of who is actually winning the AI race.
Hmm.
Which country is at the forefront right now? We've been digging into a whole bunch of sources, looking at what the U.S. is doing, what China is doing, and even how other countries are making their mark on the global AI scene.
Because this is a big deal, way bigger than just, oh, who has the coolest algorithm? We're talking about the future of everything, militaries, economies, who controls all the data that fuels these AI systems. And that all adds up to the future of technology itself. So, yeah, the question we're grappling with today is who is the true AI superpower?
It's a huge question, and one that's getting more and more pressing every day. One thing that's become super clear is that AI isn't just this niche area of research anymore. It's a core part of how countries are thinking about their future, their economies, even their defense strategies.
And it's interesting, right? Because you see these headlines, US versus China, AI showdown, but it's not that simple. There are other players, countries like the UK, Germany, Canada, even India, making serious contributions to the field.
Oh, absolutely. It's a global race, that's for sure. And what's fascinating is how far AI's reach extends now. We're not just talking about, chatbots and things like that. It's become central to so many critical sectors: national defense, keeping countries safe, economic growth, how countries are competing in the global marketplace. AI is woven into all of that now.
Okay, so let's break this down, starting with the United States. I think for a lot of people, when they think AI, they immediately think Silicon Valley, right? And there's a reason for that. The US has been in this game for a long time, laying a lot of the groundwork for what we see today.
Yeah, that's right. The U.S. has this deep history in AI research and development. And one of the biggest factors contributing to their strength is, well, those big tech companies. You've got Google with DeepMind, pushing the boundaries of what AI can do. OpenAI, who created ChatGPT,
Yeah.
which, let's be honest, blew everyone's minds.
Oh, yeah, ChatGPT was a game changer. And then there's Microsoft, pouring tons of money into AI-driven cloud computing. And you can't forget Tesla, using AI to push the limits of automation.
Right. These are household names, but they're also these powerhouses of AI innovation. And it's not just them.
Mhm.
The U.S. has some of the most prestigious research institutions in the world. Places like MIT, Stanford, Harvard. They're constantly making breakthroughs, training the next generation of AI experts, and really pushing the theoretical limits of the field.
And there's so much money flowing into AI in the US. Venture capital, private investment, it's like a constant stream fueling new startups and cutting edge research.
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole ecosystem there,
Yeah.
super dynamic, constantly pushing things forward. And it's not just about commercial applications either. The Pentagon, the U.S. military, they're investing heavily in AI for defense. We're talking AI-powered drones, cybersecurity, even autonomous weapon systems. It shows just how strategically important AI is for them.
But it's not all smooth sailing for the US, right? There's some big challenges on the horizon. We hear a lot about the shortage of AI talent, which obviously drives up costs. And then there's the whole issue of government regulation. There's a lot of talk about how to manage AI responsibly, ethically, which could lead to stricter
And
rules.
then there's the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
China's making some serious moves in the AI space. So while the U.S. has a lot of advantages right now, the landscape is changing rapidly. They need to adapt to stay ahead.
Speaking of China, they've really become the main challenger to US dominance, haven't they? It feels like every week there's a new headline about how quickly they're advancing.
Yeah, and those headlines aren't exaggerating. China has this incredibly ambitious goal to be the global leader in AI by 2030. And the progress they're making is really impressive, even a little intimidating.
One of the biggest differences between the US and China is the role of the government. In the US, AI development is mostly driven by private companies. But in China, the government's much more hands-on, providing funding and even dictating the direction of AI research.
That's a key difference. It's a much more centralized approach in China. The government has made AI a national priority, investing massive amounts of money and setting clear goals for its development. It's a different model from the U.S., which relies more on market forces and private initiative.
And then there's the data advantage China has. With over 1.4 billion people, they have access to an insane amount of data, which is crucial for training AI algorithms, especially in machine learning. That's where computers learn from data without needing specific instructions for every single task.
Right. Data is like the fuel for AI, especially for machine learning. And China has a massive data advantage. It allows them to train AI systems on a scale that's just not possible in most other countries.
Yeah.
So in certain areas, their AI systems are learning and improving at a much faster rate.
And we see some pretty controversial applications of AI in China, like their widespread use of facial recognition technology. They're using it for everything, from security to those social credit systems where they use AI to essentially track and rate people's behavior.
Yeah, the scale and integration of surveillance technology in China is pretty striking. It's a very different approach to privacy and data protection compared to, say, Europe or the US, where there's a lot more caution and debate about these kinds of technologies.
And we can't forget the economic impact. AI-driven robotics is transforming manufacturing and supply chains in China. It's not just a theory. It's having a real, tangible impact on their economy.
Absolutely. They're using AI to make their manufacturing processes more efficient, more automated, which helps them compete on a global scale. It's a key part of their economic strategy.
But even with all these advantages, China faces some challenges too, right? They're still lagging behind in some areas of fundamental AI research, the really core scientific breakthroughs. And then there's the issue of chip manufacturing. They're still heavily reliant on other countries for the advanced semiconductors needed to run sophisticated AI systems. And that's something the US is trying to exploit with sanctions.
Right. They've made incredible progress in applying AI, but they're still dependent on other countries for some of the core technologies. It's a vulnerability they need to address if they want to become truly self-sufficient in AI.
Okay, so we've talked about the US and China, the two giants in the room. But like we mentioned earlier, there are other players in this AI game. Let's talk about some of these maybe less expected contenders.
Yeah, it's important to remember that the AI landscape is much more diverse than just a US-China rivalry. There are a bunch of other countries making important, often very specialized contributions to the field.
Let's start with the United Kingdom. They have a surprisingly strong AI research scene, punching way above their weight, it seems.
Definitely. The UK has this really vibrant AI research community, particularly strong in machine learning and AI ethics. One of the best examples is DeepMind, a British company that's made huge breakthroughs in areas like game-playing AI. They're pushing the boundaries of what AI can do.
And then there's Canada. They're often praised for having some of the top minds in AI research.
Oh yeah, Canada's been a major hub for AI research for a long time. One of the key figures there is Geoffrey Hinton, considered one of the pioneers of deep learning. His work has been fundamental to the advancements we're seeing in AI today.
Now, if we look at Europe, the European Union seems to be taking a slightly different approach. They're really emphasizing the ethical and regulatory side of AI.
Right, the EU is taking a more cautious approach. They're focused on establishing clear rules for AI development and use, with a big emphasis on human rights, data privacy, and making sure AI aligns with democratic values. They want to set a global standard for responsible AI.
And then we have India. With their huge tech workforce, they're poised to become a major player, particularly in the practical application of AI.
Absolutely. India has this massive pool of skilled engineers and developers, which is a huge asset in the AI world. They're becoming a powerhouse for implementing AI solutions, especially in software development and automation. They may not be leading in fundamental research right now, but they're definitely a force to be reckoned with when it comes to applying AI in the real world.
So it seems like even though these other countries may not be as dominant as the US or China, they're playing a vital role in shaping the global AI landscape. Whether it's through research, setting ethical guidelines, or driving adoption, they're all contributing in different ways.
Exactly. It's like a multifaceted ecosystem. You have these different centers of expertise, different approaches, different strengths, and that diversity is actually really important for the healthy development of AI globally.
Okay, so back to our original question. Who's winning the AI race? It seems like there's no easy answer, right? It depends on how you define winning.
Exactly. There's no single winner, no clear champion. Different countries are excelling in different areas.
So if we're talking about fundamental research, those core scientific breakthroughs, the US seems to still be at the forefront.
Yeah, that's generally agreed upon. They have the research infrastructure, the talent, the funding to really push the boundaries of what we know about AI.
But if we're talking about implementation, actually using AI in the real world on a large scale, then China might have the edge right now.
Right. Their access to data, their government support, their focus on practical applications, that's given them a real advantage in terms of rolling out AI solutions across various industries.
And if we're talking about ethics, setting standards for responsible AI development, then the European Union seems to be leading the way.
Yeah, they're really emphasizing the ethical considerations, trying to ensure that AI is used for good and not for, potentially harmful purposes.
So it's less about a single winner, more about different countries playing different roles, contributing in different ways to this global AI ecosystem. It suggests that true progress in AI might not be about any one nation dominating, but about collaboration, sharing knowledge, and making sure AI benefits humanity as a whole.
I think that's a really important point. This isn't just a zero-sum game. There's a lot of room for collaboration, for learning from each other, for working together to ensure that AI is used responsibly and ethically.
Looking ahead, what are some of the things you think will determine who comes out on top, or at least who stays in the game in this AI race? What are the key areas to watch?
Well, there are a few things that come to mind. Quantum computing, for one. If someone figures out how to harness quantum computing for AI, that could be a game changer. It could lead to massive leaps in AI capabilities. And then there's AI in healthcare. That's a huge area with the potential to revolutionize medicine and improve people's lives. And of course, the whole issue of autonomous warfare. How AI is used in military applications, that's going to have a major impact on global power dynamics.
So it's clear that the AI race is complex, it's evolving, and there's no single path to victory. It's more like a long, winding road with different players taking different routes, trying to reach the same destination.
That's a great way to put it. It's a journey, not a sprint. And the landscape is constantly shifting.
So for you, the listener, here's something to think about. As AI continues to develop at this incredible pace, what do you think are the most important factors that will shape the future of AI power? And what role do you think different countries will play in that future?
And building on that, I think it's crucial to consider the bigger picture. How can we encourage international cooperation to harness the benefits of AI while also addressing the potential risks? How do we make sure this technology is used for good, for everyone, and not just for the benefit of a few? Those are the questions we need to be asking ourselves as we move forward in this AI-powered world.